Welcome back. This is Crypto Rolly, the crypto watch that never stops. Live technical analysis, price predictions, and trading, and another slow sideways day. So, I've found some interesting things to show you guys that I haven't looked at with you on screen yet. So, stay tuned for that. Go ahead and hit that like for me. Leave a comment. Express your thoughts, whatever you like. Hit the subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and tick that bell for notifications. Remember, these are my own ideas and opinions on the market, so please do your own research, trade at your own risk. I am not your financial advisor. Looking at the market, we can see Bitcoin sideways. We already knew that. The volume low, lower than yesterday, lower than the day before. We're now at 740 million. Beneath a billion to me is always a slow, low volume day. So we're still waiting on that breakout, but you can see green across the board. So could this be maybe hinting at Bitcoin's next move? Possibly. XRP up 10%, which is interesting to see because yesterday we were talking about how XLM, Stellar, had pumped up 10% and how XRP was lagging behind because usually when XRP pumps, Stellar follows, right? And Stellar was pumping, but XRP had not pumped yet. Well, lo and behold, there it is. All right, the brothers, XRP and XLM. You can see, gains. Tezos up 3%, Litecoin up 5% as well, and Tron 6%. Interesting. Okay, crypto fear and greed index down to a 26. We were at a 27, a 28. We're in this moderate fear level. We have been super, super low for a majority of the last month or so, and we have been climbing out. A little bit of enthusiasm coming back into the market. So, maybe time to be cautious when people are getting enthusiastic. However, we are still definitely in the fearful zone. There are still people calling for a massive dump. So as long as people think it's going to dump, the price could continue higher. But we'll take a look at everything, okay? We'll look at the chart and see what we can see. The block halving, 13 days away, less than 2 weeks. We're getting closer and closer. All right, real quick, I found a couple articles I wanted to share with you. Like I said, it's been a pretty boring day in Bitcoin, at least. So right here, we can see that it says data shows Bitcoin whales have no intent of selling at current prices. Basically, they were talking about this one guy who's holding 68,000 Bitcoin, about 523 million. He had just moved it. It was the first time he had moved it in over 5 years. It wasn't to an exchange or anything, so no alarms there. But basically, this article is talking about how the whales were not the ones who were dumping the price when we saw the sell-off. Okay, it was basically the sell-off was from over-leveraged traders being liquidated that triggered that drop, not from spot trading whales. So basically the whales, if you look at this article more in depth, the whales have been holding throughout this whole time. And, if I was a whale and I was expecting, these $50,000, $100,000, price targets, I would be holding too, especially going into the halving. If you've been holding for 5 years, you're not going to react to every little move in the market. So the good news here was the data showing that people have been holding throughout this entire time. And then on top of that, Plan B, the guy, famously known in the crypto community for the stock to flow model, he actually has revised his model. If you want to take a look at this more in depth, just look up stock to flow model, Plan B, look for, the most recent article because I've seen this been going around lately. But basically the summary of this was his previous model had us going to $50,000 per Bitcoin after the halving. The new model says 288,000 by 2024. All right. I hope so. So, what do we have here today that we can show you slightly different from yesterday? Let's start with, I wanted to show something interesting here. So let's hide that real quick. and I want to flip this to an inverted chart, okay? So this is Bitcoin's chart flipped upside down. And if you were looking at this chart here, would you be bearish on this or bullish? Well, on this chart, I would basically be bullish if we broke this downtrend here, okay? So if we were able to break that, I would be potentially a bull. And then I would also want to get back above this resistance line here. So we have this downtrend, and then you would want to break above that resistance to get much higher. Otherwise, we look like we're sitting on top of a support level right here. You can see where you had resistance, support. You even had a little bit of resistance here. And if you go down to like the 4-hour chart, okay, if you look at the 4-hour, let me just drag this one up a bit. You can see that we're sitting on the support level. We already wicked down twice, and now we're just grinding on it. And we talked about how, you know, that 6K level in 2018, we just kept hitting it and hitting it and hitting until it finally gave way. Well, we've been putting the pressure on pretty hard on this level. So, you know, I would be looking for this to drop down as long as we didn't break above, you know, these candles here, okay? Well, guys, this is Bitcoin's chart upside down. So if I was, you know, looking to trade this to the short side, well, let's just flip it back, okay? Let's flip it back. Well, that would mean we would be pumping higher, wouldn't it? So, and guys, you know, the only reason I feel like people are so bearish is because of the global pandemic. You know, otherwise we are banging up against this support level. We haven't been rejected. You know, we wicked up, and we're just putting the pressure on. I feel like it could break potentially very soon. And, you know, I've been talking about this level being a very important level for a while, because you saw back here in 2019 when we bottomed out that we formed a range here, and you had resistance all along that level. And this, you know, it's drawn around 77.50 right here. On my other chart, 77.75, not perfect, but in that range. And once you broke above it, out of the range, you had a little bit of a pump, retested support, and bounced and took off. So to get back above it would be very bullish for the macro. And you can see, you know, you had that trading range here. So we're on the underside, on the underbelly of that trading range. So we need to get back above it. However, we are at resistance, and until it's broken, we're still at resistance, okay? That was one interesting thing that I wanted to show. Then another one would be, let's pull out the fib. I've done this one before, but we were much lower in price when we did that. So if you draw from top to bottom, and I'm going to need to, okay, there we go. That wick is hard to see with the volume down there below. Okay, there you go. So where's the 0.618 coming at? 79.79. We'll just call it 8K. That's where we had the 8K target from the beginning, back when we were at 7K. There was a video 6K or 8K, and the 8K was a target found using the 0.618 golden retracement. It was also, you know, where this cluster was as well. So if we do get rejected in this region, it would make a lot of sense. The golden retracement is, you know, often an important level, and often where you get that rejection from. You can see that over here as well. If you do from this top to this bottom, you can see that at 14K, when we topped out on this rally, was right at that 0.618. So it topped out exactly at the 0.618. Now the difference with this was you had a blow off top, you know, large volume spike, bring it back, and you know, it was a large candle and then a rejection, like a hard rejection. The difference with this one is we came up to it and we haven't been rejected so hard. We're still pressuring it, still pressure, you know, and the more that you pressure that resistance, the chance of it breaking becomes larger, right? And another one to show you another, golden retrace. Not as perfect, but, still in the same type of, area. If you draw one from here down to here, let's see. This is actually not the one I wanted to show you, but might as well while we're here. This top to this bottom, you actually topped out between the 0.5 and the 0.618 on that one. That was not the one I wanted to show, but you can see similar region as well. And then let's do one over here as well. I wanted to do from here to there, okay? Yeah. And the 0.618, what do you know? That's basically where we bottomed in that region as well. It came down a little past it. It did. But, a majority of that trading was right there on that golden retracement. So the point of this is you can see how often it plays out. And on top of that, go over to the stock market, the S&P 500. Let's do a retracement on that one as well. Why not? All right, so you draw one from the top to the bottom, and what do you know? We're at that 0.618 region on the S&P 500 as well. So could this be where the stock market has a reversal? If we get the reversal, and I'm talking about a large reversal, not just like a bearish, daily candle. I'm talking about like back down to this level here. I believe we will also see that happening in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin and the S&P 500 both at their golden retracement. Now, another thing that I wanted to show you guys that was of interest to me. We can hide that. Let's go ahead and put the stock market, S&P 500, side by side with Bitcoin, okay? Because what I noticed here with Bitcoin, so we'll go to the daily, they're both on a daily, drag this over, and we'll drag this one over as well. All right, so here we go, side by side. So the interesting thing here is that this is where we had the black swan, the Black Thursday, the massive dump, where you also had that cascading liquidations on BitMEX and all that. And we have completely retraced that move there. However, this pandemic drop didn't happen there. It was already happening. You can see where the stock market started to sell off was back here, February 21st. Now, if you see on the left and the right, when I go, when I move my cursor to the side, you can see how it lines up on the right side as well. So February, let's say February 21st on the stock market is where you saw that first dip. But maybe that was just the natural one. So let's go over to February 24th. You already broke that low there. So you had higher highs, higher lows. This one was starting to break that low there. So that was about February 25th. That's lining up right here, February 24th, February 25th, right there on Bitcoin. So when the stock started dumping, Bitcoin started dumping way up here as well. And then you can see on the stock market, you had that massive dump. You had a dead cat bounce right here and bounced up. Where was this dead cat bounce? Oh, the same place that we bounced here. And then where'd you dump? The same place you dumped there. Okay, so it's following it to the T. And we're at the 0.618 on the S&P 500, and we're at the 0.618 on Bitcoin as well, right? So it's very interesting that we're at that same level. Now, I've been saying that it's pretty bullish to be back above 8K, and there's other indicators, showing that you are very bullish to be above that using the weekly 21 EMA and a few other things, just the horizontal levels. But guys, we do need to be cautious right in here, just because you can see the confluence between the price, the resistance, and the confluence with the stock markets. Now, let's say we break above the 0.618. which would be, very good. I have Bitcoin. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you have it as well. All right, so you want to see this, right? And we completely retrace this entire movement. So my point, I'm trying to get to it, is that the sell-off from the pandemic started here. And let's say that we just completely recover from the entire pandemic. Let's just say, just for the argument of this. Your 1.618 extension is coming up to 14,645. And then your 2.618 extension is 21,000. So if we are able to break above 8K and we start marching up, these could be your potential targets after a complete retracement of the pandemic sell-off, okay? But is the pandemic recession sell-off over is the big question. If we go back, if the economy opens back up and people aren't getting sick and businesses are booming, we could definitely retrace this entire movement, and then we could start looking at these targets much higher. However, if, the ish hits the fan, so to say, this could be where we get rejected, and, it could be a long year. All right, that's all I got to say on that. I hope that was, worth the breakdown. I'm just, I'm searching for different things to look at, but I think that was pretty interesting. How long have we been going? It was already a full 16 minutes. All right. So I'm just going to do a real quick breakdown, weekly, daily for you guys. Let me hide these there. Actually, I need them, but I'm going to delete the fibs. All right. Delete the fibs. So on the weekly, we have we are at the 21 EMA. The resistance at 76.95 on the weekly. We're trading above it currently. We did close above it. We want to see this weekly candle close above 7,700 so that we can get a open and close above the weekly 21 EMA to continue our bullish argument. You can see above the weekly 21 EMA it's bullish on the macro. Beneath it is bearish, right? So that's the level we're watching for. Moving forward this week, do we hold 7,700 or not? If you do get rejected, the red 100 EMA should be support at 7,300. This was pretty good to see us close back above that because we've been rejected for it for several weeks. You can see it was important support here. It was resistance here. Many people, including myself, were suspicious. Suspicious. I can't speak. I won't even try again for it to come back down and retrace back to the 200 EMA around 6,000. But we just kept banging up against it and finally broke it. So that's why I was saying on the smaller time frames, we could be looking at the same thing at 7,800. Your stochastics still crossed to the upside on the weekly, all right? But the volume is still declining. We're still waiting on that major breakout volume, either to the upside or the downside, to resolve this consolidation. But, we didn't, consolidate sideways. We just completely retraced this massive move. Now, the pandemic drop started here, so maybe we can just continue back here as if none of this happened. We will see. Many people will be doubtful, I'm sure. But maybe that's why we get the move, if no one expects it, could happen. But going down to the daily, I will say, hinting at that cross down potentially, and you are at this resistance level right here. You can see we did put in a red candle, but a majority of it is a wick. Could this be a potential top? Possibly. We are hitting that 7,800 resistance level there. Your daily 100 EMA is at 75.60, so that would be your support to the downside. And more importantly, you have this 7,400 horizontal coming down as well. Now, I'm not going to be super bearish until we, lose that trend line like I was showing at the top of the video, when we did the inverted chart, that was, the opposite of what we're looking at. So Yeah, if you break that level, your next level down would be around 6,900. You had a resistance flip support right there at 6,900. Sorry, you can see it better here. So you had 6,900 and you have 7,400 there, and then we're looking at around 7,750 here. So it'll be interesting to see, if you get a little pullback, possibly down to 75.60 using your red 100 EMA, or using your horizontals down to that level there at 7,400. If you lose this uptrend, possibly back down to 6,900, you lose 6,900, well, we can break out the fib retracements at that time and see how far we could go down. I think 6,100 was a level that I was looking at for quite some time. Okay, go to the 12-hour. Let's look at the 12-hour real quick. The 12-hour also high and hinting at a cross down, but hasn't been confirmed yet either. And similar levels, of course. It's just a different time frame, but the same horizontals. But let's look at the moving averages on the 12-hour. On the 12-hour, you have the blue 10 simple coming up, acting as support. So the blue 10 simple's at 76.73. You saw how we bounced off of it there. So that could continue to act as support. And you have the 377 EMA resistance at 78.56. Pink 200 simple at 79.70. Okay. Going down to the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, let's see. I've been riding this 10 simple for past few days. Can't get a close beneath it. Just holding the price up. So the support is at 77.33 right now. Your 21 EMA would be the next level down, 76.65. Orange 50 EMA 74.84, and the 377 EMA at 73.20. Okay, but I think let's see where these horizontals line up. Yeah, so the blue 10 simple on the 4-hour has been just pushing us up slightly against that horizontal resistance, and it could potentially break. Where would we be headed? I haven't talked about targets above 8K. So if we do go above 8K, I am looking for a potential CME gap fill up at 9K right there. You can see the CME gap. And, not just the gap, but also just having a previous local high here will be your next level of resistance and level of interest as well. So, there's not a lot between here and there. I mean, I guess you could, go back a little further. We could draw maybe, let's do one from here to here. See if that's relevant at all. And that level is at what, 82.58. I'm just guessing. I draw some of these horizontals and see how they play out down the road. Let's see, we could put one here, the underbelly of that price range, and that's coming in at 8,400. To me, that looks a little bit more relevant. I don't know about this price action, but this looks a little more relevant to me. So I would say 8,400, and then up here at 9K would be like levels of interest to the upside. Okay, the 4-hour stochastic doesn't know what it wants to do. Okay, so it hasn't been very reliable with the low volume. It's been a lot like weekend action, which cannot be trusted. And unfortunately, it's the weekday and we're all bored. All right, so Bitcoin dominance. I want to see the Bitcoin dominance real quick. Are the altcoins outperforming Bitcoin? Yes, altcoins in the last day yesterday they outperformed Bitcoin. Your stochastic looking to cross down. So is this hinting, and you're looking at like a support level there? If this continues to go down, that means the altcoins will outperform Bitcoin. So does that mean Bitcoin gets that move up, and then the altcoins get a move up and do even better? Potentially. Now, I will say, when Bitcoin has those really massive moves, like those breakout, 10, 15% pumps, dumps, when it has the pumps, the 10% pumps, often it leaves the altcoins behind. This whole rally back here, it outperformed. This is the dominance, but yeah, you can see the dominance was rising. This was 2019 when Bitcoin was pumping from the low 4K region to 14K. It was just outperforming the whole way. You were seeing massive green candles, and it was just doing better than the altcoins. So we'll have to see when it gets to that point. So we'll just keep our eye on that. 25 minutes. All right. What I wanted to show with the altcoins real quick was something interesting. I'm not going to do a specific alt of the day per se. I just wanted to show that most of these coins have retraced to their March 12th sell-off date. So we'll start with XRP. You can see this is where we had the sell-off, and XRP today pumped up to meet it. So you can see, we all know that Bitcoin has been at that point right there. This was the March 12th sell-off. Bitcoin's been here, and you can see that some of the other coins are finally catching up. If you go to Link was one of the first to get to that level. March 12th sell-off right here. Link got back up to that level April 17th. And you can see Tezos also got back to that level not too long ago. In fact, it's closed and found support above that level, which is pretty bullish. That was the Black Swan event on March 12th. So if you look at each one of these, this was its sell-off on ZRX. ZRX hasn't gotten to that point yet, so possibly ZRX will be next. Stellar has looking very bullish. It definitely it blasted right past its March 12th date, and it's retraced all the way back up to this date here, which was where the pandemic started, end of February. The pandemic sell-off in the stock market. So Stellar has retraced the entire end of February stock market sell-off. Just interesting to note. Keep moving along. Litecoin has some work to do. This was where we had March 12th right up here, so it's lagging behind. Litecoin could be the next, XRP to get another pump. I did a live stream for my Discord group this morning. I had drawn this little, I said, look, it could be a potential pull and a flag. We hadn't broken out yet. We were still in it, and we did break out. We'll have to see what happens next. You do have a horizontal resistance there, but that could be the target, considering we see the same little drop, little bounce and dip on every single altcoin chart, and some of them have already gotten back to that level and some have not. Ethereum has gotten back to that level right there as we stand currently. And if you go back on the weekly just real quick, or we'll do the daily, we're at this critical line on Ethereum. This, you can see if you go way back, you can see how it was support there, support here, and how it had resistance. So we're back here at that resistance level, but not only how you see the previous history, support, resistance, and now resistance, but also that's where the March 12th sell-off was. So retrace that on Ethereum. ETC, have we done it on that one? Not quite, almost there though. Okay. EOS was putting in a bit of an ascending triangle formation. I have the arrow there. I was sharing that on Twitter. That's where, so this one hasn't quite gotten to that point yet. So, they don't have to. If Bitcoin decides it just wants to sell off today, then, maybe they don't get to that point. But as long as Bitcoin holds its current price, or even better, moves up, I imagine the rest of these altcoins that haven't gotten to that March 12th level will get to that point. So, search through do a little alt scan and see which ones have and haven't gotten to that point. Bitcoin Cash, not yet. Well, it actually did back here. You can see it actually got rejected at that point. So Bitcoin Cash has, but if the rest of the market stays bullish, I'm sure it will make another attempt back up to that resistance level as well. All right. So that's it for me today, guys. Hit that like for me one more time. I wanted to make this video slightly different because not a lot has happened. And if you're still with me watching this video, I do have the link to the Discord group down below. I have the next 2 weeks are free for the Discord, so definitely come check it out. I'm doing live streams 10 a.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday, for my group members only, where I can do a longer, in-depth video, take some requests on altcoins and all that good stuff. Okay. Crypto Rolly Roll. I am out.